My name is Ross, and I'm a 15-year-old Irishman. I am currently enrolled in my 3rd year of secondary education in Ireland. Someone fresh enrolled in my school at the beginning of my 2nd year. We became fast friends when I was tasked with taking him around. His name is Diego, and he is from Portugal. He sported a striking red school backpack that stood out from the crowd. His short, brown hair makes him slightly shorter than myself. There will be a time when this is crucial. During our lunch break, I made my way upstairs to the school to meet up with my group at our normal meeting place, a portion of the corridor where we kept our lockers. Diego was walking down the hall as I rounded the bend. I would have seen him ascend the steps from the distance I was standing, so this was strange. Although I was perplexed, I didn't give it any consideration at the moment. I accelerated my pace in an effort to meet his pace. Just as I was about to catch up to him, he rounded another corner, but he was gone when I turned around. 2 restrooms, one for the ladies and one for the men, and a stairwell leading back down were present, but Diego was noticeably absent. He would have had to run to the loo, either jump down the steps or jog in there, given that I was just behind him. I would have heard him if he had tried to use the stairs. I thought, surely he must be in the loo. I sat down on a bench that was close by and waited. Among our party, Diego arrived before anyone else. He dropped his bag as he turned the corner. At that moment, it hit me. He never emerged from the loo. "Have you already been over there?" I inquired. "No, I just came from the gym." He was under no obligation to tell a fib, as the gym was across the street. "What are you thinking?" "I know. Somebody else it was." To begin with, the individual I beheld had an uncanny resemblance to my companion as we stood behind one another. Secondly, that bag is unique among the students. Third, I didn't see anyone exit the loo, and the only way they could have gone without running down the stairs was to use the loo. Finally, my friend stands out from the crowd. His unique physique makes him unique. I think this is all because of a bug in the Matrix, even though it isn't the most terrifying story ever. Following my graduation from college, I spent a year backpacking through Australia. I experienced some ups and downs while I was there. My personality is rather introverted, therefore I struggled with the social part of the nomadic life. Overall, I would say it was a good experience for me. My friend Ryan from home was backpacking in Australia as well, and our paths crossed. We were vacationing near the beach in the small town of Byron Bay when this incident occurred. We chose to stay at a campsite because we already had camping gear and were pleased to save money. Apparently, $20 per night for a hostel bed was too expensive for us. Byron Bay is a fantastic destination that appears to be on practically every backpacker's must-see list. Aside from the wonderful natural beauty of the area, it is also recognized as a popular party town for the younger demographic. To be honest, I wasn't too interested in the party scene, but I did strive to be more social back then. Ryan and I decided to go to a pub one night. It was about a 45-minute walk to the town center over primarily country roads. We made it there before nightfall, which was fortunate because the roads were mostly unlit. We gave no thought to how we were going to get back. Smart, I know. We spent the evening sipping Sapobia and dealing with the head-pounding effects of music that was far too loud for me. We departed after midnight, and it was obviously too dark to walk back the way we had come. After some deliberation, We determined that because our campground is on the beach, all we needed to do was stroll down the sea until we saw the bright neon sign that hangs above the main entrance. I suppose we could have hired a taxi, but we were both very cheap and frugal, and the beauty of the beach under the moonlight was simply too appealing to pass up. We'd been walking for about half an hour and were at a quiet stretch of the beach, so I was astonished to see something in the water. There was difficult to tell, but there appeared to be a person standing in the ocean far in the distance. I was certain my mind was playing tricks on me. I'm not a believer in the supernatural, so I wasn't too frightened. Also, the concept of a criminal or murderer standing in the water waiting for some unfortunate person to pass by seemed way too implausible to be frightening. My mind was clearly playing tricks on me. The combination of drink and weariness was causing me to see things that did not exist. Looking to alleviate my concerns, I asked Ryan, "Do you see that?" "See what?" he said. Then I pointed to where I thought I saw a man standing in the water, around 100 or 200 meters ahead of us, just off the shore. "I don't think so," he mumbled. We weren't sure whether there was anything there by this time because we were so far away. We continued going, and after another minute, Ryan said, "Oh, now I see it. It looks like a man standing in the ocean." With that, I realized it wasn't a fiction of my imagination. Something there, and we both saw it. With each stride, we saw we were looking at the silhouette of a man standing waist deep in the ocean, his long shadow cast towards us and propelled by the bright moon. We should have turned around, but our curiosity got the better of us. If ghosts existed, we wanted to know. As we got closer, our hearts raced. It was now clear that we were looking at a black figure in the shape of a man. As we approached, he turned around and addressed us. "How are you going, mates?" the man asked as he adjusted his fishing rod. Ryan, stunned by a combination of relief and perplexity, squeezed out an embarrassing "good, I suppose. The best fish appear at night." We stared at one another, embarrassed by how scared we were. We had some nice chuckles as we walked the rest of the way to the campground. I've always considered myself a scientist, and I believe that remarkable claims require evidence. For a few minutes, however, I questioned everything I thought I knew about reality, and while I would not call myself a believer, I am beginning to understand people who do. Last night, about 11 p.m., I went for a walk in my neighborhood. My town is relatively safe, so I didn't feel in danger. I'd been strolling for about 5 minutes when I noticed a pale woman with blonde hair and a white dress across the street. She was roughly my height and appeared to be around my age. I didn't give her any attention after I initially noticed her. After I rounded the block again, she was only a few feet ahead of me on the same street. She was standing on the curb, watching at the passing cars. It was a major route, so it was still rather busy at this hour. I said hi, and she stared at me. I couldn't see her face clearly, but I could see she didn't have pupils or color in her eyes. She simply stared at me. After a few seconds, I asked whether she was all right. She didn't respond and simply pointed to the road. I was very perplexed and didn't understand. As a car approached us on the street, she stepped in front of it. The car smashed into her, but made no sound. The driver abruptly came to a halt and stepped out. He was a man in his mid-20s. We both talked about it, stressing out. He contacted the police, and I looked around the car to check how the girl was doing. She was gone by the time I had circled the car. She wasn't gone in the sense of being deceased, but rather simply not present. The blood on the road was also gone, but the blood on his car remained. After the police arrived, they determined that it was a hoax perpetrated by a child and a guy who went along with it. The blood on the car was analyzed and found to be nothing more than red paint. With that, the case was concluded. I'm still unsure whether what happened was true. I do not believe in the paranormal, but this is difficult to explain. I may never comprehend what happened that evening, and part of me hopes I never do.